So here we have my 1985 Honda Accord. Now some of you may look at this car and think it's just an old piece of junk, why would you want to buy this? But I actually see a certain charm and a certain look and feel in it that just newer cars don't really have. I just find something rather unique about an 80s Japanese car. So for those of you that want to stick around, I'm very excited to show you all the interesting features that the exterior and interior of this vehicle has to offer. Starting in the front here, you can see it's just a very simple design. We have these rectangular sealed beam headlamps with glass lenses. And we have a slight accent on the grille there with the chrome, and also just beneath the headlights. And you can see it kind of wraps around the corner here and flows into a fender that has a sort of body line that follows through into the doors. And the front fenders here also have slightly flared wheel arches, which is a nice touch. As you can see on the side of the vehicle, it just has a very simple and boxy kind of profile, but makes for a rather elegant and timeless design. Also here on the side we have these black and chrome body side moldings and chrome accents on the door handles. Coming around to the rear of the vehicle, is just once again a very simple design. You do have a single exhaust outlet, and it's just very boxy looking back here. Here on the passenger side of the vehicle, you can see there's no door mirror. You only get one on this model. And we do have these 13-inch steel wheels with wheel covers. Some people actually say that they look kind of like paper plates, so I can see kind of a resemblance there as well. Opening up the door here, you can see it has a blue cloth interior. Here on the door panel we have a real metal door handle, have our manual window controls, and a small storage pocket. There's a nice chrome accent running along the door panel, and you do have a rather large cloth insert with a bit of carpeting along the bottom as well. And you can see here we do have our fuse box, small door sill, and we have our trunk release located right here. A little bit of adjustments for the driver's seat, and we also have this lever here to move the seat forward and backwards. As you can see, the seats on this one are in pretty decent shape. There's a little bit of wear and tear along the edge, but for the most part they're really not bad. However, these seats are actually pretty uncomfortable, and after more than about 30 minutes of driving, you really start to notice it. So that's one kind of drawback with having an older vehicle like this. So let's go ahead and step it aside. And we'll start it up. And over here we have our air vent with open and close feature. Small storage bin. And just down there is the fuse box that we located earlier. Have our control for the manually adjustable driver's side mirror. Rear defrost, and this button here actually tests all of the instrumentation there for indicating when a door is open or closed or the brake light is out. Here on the instrument cluster you can see all the gauges are really easy to read. We have 226,471 miles on this one, and you do have small indicators right there when the engine is in need of a service. Have our 4-spoke steering wheel with 4 small buttons to activate the horn, and our cruise control is located right here with resume and accelerate, set and decelerate, and to cancel you simply push them both at the same time. You can see on the logo in the middle we do have power steering, and our headlamp controls are right here as well as the turn signals, and the hazards are out there as well. And over here on the right side we have our wiper controls, intermittent, low and high speed. Pull it towards you to activate the washers, and simply push down just to wipe the windscreen once. Moving along here we have our brightness control for when the headlights are on. Also a trip reset. And moving along right into the middle of the dashboard we have a clock. Now this being the base model, it's the analog clock. Higher trims actually came with a digital clock. And you do have a few small bins there to store items. Air vents right here as well. And here we have the climate control. Very simple temperature selector. Push buttons here to change the different modes. And we have our fan control right here. And to activate the air conditioning, you simply push in this button and a light will illuminate when it's on. Have our cigarette lighter, cruise control main, and we do have an aftermarket Clarion stereo with cassette player, but most of the time it doesn't work, and right now is one of those times. It does have a removable faceplate. You simply push this button here, and it's kind of hard to grab onto and pull it out, but you can see right there it is removable, and it can be a bit cumbersome to put back in as well. There we go. A little bit of storage here in this sort of ashtray looking thing, and I just put some random parts in there that I found just kind of laying around the inside of the vehicle. And if we push in the clutch, you can shift it through all of the 5 gears. It's a pretty smooth feeling shifter, it really is. Not too bad. All the way over, down for reverse, and you'll know what you're in reverse when you hear it click in. I don't know if you can hear that on the camera or not. And we have the parking brake located right here. So let's go ahead and shut it off. And we'll check out the rest of the vehicle. We'll go ahead and release the hood and pop the trunk as well. And all the doors are already unlocked. There's no power locks or anything, so you do have to either unlock it with the key or pull up on the tab. Getting into the back here, you can see legroom is rather unimpressive. You can see, of course, it does have the blue cloth. Small ashtray right there. And there is a very minimalistic center hump in the middle. No storage pockets or anything. Also, there's no fold-down armrest, and the headrests are actually integrated into the seat back. So it's pretty simplistic back here. Now, I don't know if you noticed or not, but on the inside, I did not point out a release for the fuel filler door. And that's because actually it locks, as you can see. So there's pretty much no way of releasing it from the inside. You have to shut off the car, take out the key, come back here and open it up like that. If we take a second to just lift up the trunk lid, it's very light. It does have the sort of gooseneck hinges, but they're not too intrusive. And you can see it's actually a pretty deep trunk. The wheel wells do intrude quite a bit, but otherwise it's nice and wide, and you do have a small storage bin there. And over here for the jack, these are just some spare belts that came with the vehicle. As you can see, the opening is very nice and wide, so it's easy to get things in and out of once you lift it over this big thing there, as the deck lid only really covers the top of the trunk, unlike a lot of modern cars where it kind of wraps around. But as you can see, like I said, it's a very nice deep cargo area. I did have to put some caulking in here because the trunk was leaking, and I suspect it's still leaking, just not quite as badly. If we check out this side of the interior, you can see there is a little bit of stains here on the carpet, but we'll get in. And you can see, like I was saying before, there really isn't a whole lot of legroom. I mean, this seat is pretty much in the same place as the driver's seat, so it's comfortable to where I would sit, and if I was going to spend more than an hour in here, I would be just absolutely tortured with the amount of space there is. I mean, my feet are already underneath the front passenger seat, and I can't really move them back much further, and my knees, just sitting here normally, are right up against the backrest. So there really isn't a whole lot of space here, and you can see this middle portion here is really only suitable for small children. And as you can hear, the build quality of this car is just nice and solid. Opening and closing the doors, everything just has a nice, reassuring clunk to it. And if we get in, this part of the dashboard is slightly soft to the touch, and I just love the carpeting along the door panel, and for its time period, it was actually really well built. Now you can see the latch to the glove box is sort of broken, so it just kind of hangs there for now, but it is lined with felt on the inside, and there is actually a lock that supposed to stick out through here. And sitting in the front passenger seat, you can see there's decent legroom. If the glove box was closed, it would be a lot more spacious. The side-to-side room isn't bad either. However, there's no sort of armrest in the center. You're just kind of doing whatever. But it's really not a bad car in the front as far as space is concerned. It's mainly only in the back where the amount of space really is a problem. And now we'll take a look at one of the more interesting features of this vehicle. But first of all, we have to open the very unique hood. You see, it's hinged at the front, which means you open it over there. And so it just very easily tilts forward. I mean, it's very light. And under the hood here we have Honda's ES2 engine. It's a 1.8 liter inline 4 with 12 valves, which means 3 valves per cylinder. And it just has a single overhead camshaft. It makes around 86 horsepower. And it has a single 2-barrel carburetor. It's a pretty interesting engine, and it's actually a rather old design for Honda. It features their CVCC technology, which is basically a fancy way of saying that it has dual combustion chambers of sorts. So I'm not particularly sure on how it works. Haven't done a whole lot of research, but basically that's what it means. And to close the hood, it's very light, so you just drop it from a decent distance, and it will close and latch. So that was a rather in-depth look at this 1985 Honda Accord. And even in the last year of its second generation, the Accord back in the day was among the best family sedans in the class. And as you can see, over almost 30 years, it's held up pretty well.